Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I am here tonight with Bruce. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, David, how you doing tonight?
Good. I'm working on a little bit of either allergies or a cold. I'm not quite sure yet what it is, but not feeling too bad, just tired. Bruce, how are you doing?
Very well tonight. Thank you. Very uplifting hockey game.
There you go. Oh, I lost your sound, Bruce. You must have pulled the plug when you. Oh, there you're back.
I muted to sneeze. It just
that
came
was a
on
good.
me real fast. So
That was good mute
talked
action.
about a cold, and I got it over the internet.
You were as cool with that mute button as Evander Kane in front of the net. I have to say that was very well done. Yeah, Bruce, that was like I thought this was going to be a titanic struggle, this game, and it was. The first period was very tense. But then, my son Jack texted me. He said he thought that might have been the Oilers' most dominant second period of the season. Their skill really took over, like in a way that we haven't seen against the Flames for like forever. Like how long have we seen the Oilers skill dominate the Flames and really separate the two teams? Like a marked separation, I thought, in this game because of the Oilers' skill. Even though in the end, the grade A shots were close. We had it at 18 grade A shots for the Oilers, 16 for the Flames. But in the subset of the most dangerous grade A shots, the 5 alarm shots, it was 9-7 for the Flames. Now we're going to get into why that got close. It was there were some score effects there. Yes. So anyway, we'll talk about that.
Definitely so.
This is our 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers podcast, Bruce, because it's a big Oilers win. We'll go with 2 good things each. Why don't you kick it off?
Sure. I'm going to triple out Edmonton's first line of Connor McDavid between Evander Kane and now playing right wing Leon Draisaitl after the last couple of years mostly playing center or left wing. Now Leon is moving around. I thought all 3 of them had terrific games tonight, and among them, 10 points. 4 assists for Draisaitl +4, 3 assists for McDavid +4, 3 goals, of course, for Evander Kane +2, and Kane was he managed to score a natural hat trick in the second period in just a 6-minute span between 6:58 and 12:58, and all 3 of them 5 alarm slam dunks from the edge of the crease. 2 where he went right across the. Took the pass and made the duck to the inside and beat Markstrom to the glove side post. And the third, where the pass was so good, he just had to slam it into the net from basically almost inside the blue paint. But the boys were dangling. They had a puck on a string. McDavid made 4, 5, 6 one-on-one moves where he broke somebody's ankles. Like just these quick spins that he's doing and he's unpredictable. He's like Mercury, you got him in there and you think you got him contained and he just kind of jiggles and all of a sudden he squirts through a hole that wasn't even there before. And the puck somehow goes through a different hole and he and it come out the other side together. And man, I mean that one on Eric Goodbranson tonight, big lumbering Eric Goodbranson where McDavid reversed and he tucked the puck through his skates and came out. Then he tried to set up Kane for a 4th goal. And the other defenseman, probably Zadorov, I think it probably was, broke up the pass, or that would have been a highlight reel goal for all times. But he was dancing and dishing. And Leon looked pretty good, I thought, tonight, skating. And certainly passing, making good, smart passes with the puck. He had 4 shots on goal of his own, but his points were all assists. And they were, all good, sharp passes. On the game opening goal was scored by Zach Hyman, where McDavid made a dazzling rush up the boards, and he passed it to Draisaitl in the middle of the ice. Leon Markstrom was coming out to play Leon, and he just bunted it over about 8 feet to Hyman on the right of him, and Markstrom was swimming, trying to cover the angle. I think he just kind of lost his post, And Zach Hyman quickly told him where the post was by ringing the puck off of it on its way into the net. Perfect shot. And then they were away. I mean, that was 52 seconds into the second period. And by the end of, really by the 13-minute mark of that period, it was 4-0 Edmonton. And basically on cruise control thereafter. We'll talk a little bit about that. But that second period show was just astonishing. And that big line, 29, 97, 91, were front and center.
That was Showtime, Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
That was right out of the LA Lakers 1980s.
Yeah.
Magic Johnson and James Worthy. I mean, that was Coop, and that was spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
That was truly spectacular hockey. With Kane's, you know, I don't want to underestimate Kane's contribution to those goals, because his calm in front of the net, especially on that his first goal where Draisaitl made the great deke to his backhand, put it over to Kane, and then Kane made a great deke to his backhand, both of them.
Poor Mark.
Just, most players would just be slamming that on the goalie. Like, honestly, many players would be just Draisaitl's pass, Kane gets it calmly.
Yeah.
And I wonder if he'll be. There's always controversy around Evander Kane, right? Because he's a lightning rod. A lot of people don't like Evander Kane for various reasons. I wonder if there'll be controversy. What is his goal celebration when he put the hat on after the hat trick?
Well, some of it is showboating, and I mean, you either hate it or you like it, or there's a place for it. And I some of Kane's showboating is, I mean, he's a bit of a entertainer, shall we say, and he doesn't mind trash talking the other team, and you can love that or hate it too. But he puts it out there, and the hat trick was pretty special to get 3 goals of that quality in a 6-minute span, natural hat trick, all in one period. Don't see too many of those, and he got his chances and he buried them all basically in that span. So, and he did a couple of things that weren't necessarily so. I thought he took a bad penalty, and I thought he was a little sloppy a couple times in the play on the one Calgary goal, but by then the issue wasn't really in doubt. Would have been nice for a shutout.
Yeah.
Hey,
the good thing about Leon, Bruce, is every game, and as people listening to this podcast know, I was really worried about him, his ability, especially after that first game.
Yeah,
he just looked like he didn't look like he had it looked like he had regressed actually from the LA series to the first Calgary game, where he just was not able to help the team a whole heck of a lot, although he did get 3 points. I think a couple of these just were not of the high, they were just kind of
secondary
play, secondary assists. But anyway, every game, the last 2 games, he looked actually a lot better the last game, and then this game he looked a lot better from there. So I'm very hopeful about this, Bruce. I wouldn't be surprised. Hopefully we'll start to see him practicing again with the team and able to get on the ice for that. Like, he's still a little bit off on the power play. He still doesn't have full mobility out there, but he's getting it. He's more like, instead of looking like he's 40% or 30%, he's looking like he's 80%.
Yeah,
now.
I agreed.
And that was, man, that's huge. Bruce, I'm gonna.
Go
ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Three games into the series, Leon's got 10 points.
Whoa.
McDavid's got 9.
Connor McDavid, Bruce, he's not just breaking ankles out there. Connor McDavid's not just breaking ankles. He's beheading people, Bruce. These are decapitation strikes on the opposing team when he's going around them. And the one play that comes to mind was the third goal, where he's cruising through the neutral zone and the puck's in the Oilers' end, and to get the pass from, I think it's from Draisaitl coming up there, he turns around and skates backwards. He gets the puck and he spins around the guy effortlessly. He makes it look so easy. And
he made a move in the first period too, where he corkscrewed into the slot where it looked like they had him contained, and all of a sudden there's McDavid doing some weird pirouette that you just couldn't see coming, and he comes free in the slot. Nothing came of it, but just the skating move itself, I mean, that's something you'd expect from Kurt Browning or something in terms of the footwork. and he had a few of those going on tonight, and another brilliantly entertaining show from number 97.
Yeah. Decapitation strikes, Bruce. Ugly out there. It's ugly. Listen, they don't know what to do. Like they literally, this is a tough team that would like to
Hmm.
pound him into smithereens. But
Yeah.
you make contact with him, and he's suddenly,
Hmm.
who knew this was going to happen? I
Yeah.
think he has taken his game in these playoffs to another level, and
Hmm.
it's in terms of puck protection. Maybe he's watching Zach Hyman, how Hyman does it. But anyway, you combine Hyman's doggedness on the puck
Hmm.
protect and his ability to puck protect and bounce off checks, then you put Connor McDavid saying, "I'm going to just do that," and
At
man,
100 miles an
he's
hour.
spinning off them incredibly. Yeah, it's really amazing, and this is a new thing. Like I mean, there's masters of the puck protect: Peter
Hmm.
Forsberg, Jaromir
Leon
Jagr,
Draisaitl.
Leon
Hmm.
Draisaitl, Joe Thornton. They're usually,
Yeah.
Hyman for a smaller player, but McDavid's as big as Hyman, I think,
Hmm.
and
Yep.
he is puck protecting like he has never puck protected before. He's taken the initial contact,
Hmm.
and it really does remind me of a basketball player in the key, getting the pass in the key, take the contact, bounce off it, and attack. And they have nothing to he did it. There was a play in LA where it really started off. It was on the boards, and I think it might have been it was Philip Deneau, the great checking, maybe the best checking setter in the NHL.
One of
And,
them for
and
sure.
Deneau hit him. He bounced off Deneau and went right to the net. And since then, it's just been
Hmm.
nonstop with the decapitation moves. All right. Um, my good thing is Zach Hyman.
Hmm.
Bruce, he had, let me just check this. I think he had how many shots on net?
7.
7 shots on net.
Hmm.
He had 6 major contributions to grade A shots today, Bruce.
Yeah.
Every single one of them was a shot.
Yeah. Well.
Every single one of his major contributions was a
Yeah.
shot. And the goal stands out because it was an absolutely fantastic placed shot. He got it away quickly, right off the post. It's a perfect shot. But the play that stands out is his one man virtuous cycle of the puck, where I think he won it on the boards and he's cycling it around and gets a slot shot in the third period. He has an amazing ability to win the puck protect, move his feet, uh, get it to the net, get a shot on net. I mean, we've seen this multiple
Yeah.
times this playoff season where he does that.
Yeah. I just watched that sequence a few minutes before the podcast. I remembered Hyman. He made a play inside his own blue line to chip a puck out of the zone, and the Calgary defenseman went to recover it, and Hyman made a play on him to steal off him. I think that might have been Stone. So he took it the second time. He chipped it into Calgary's territory. Then he won a race to it, and he was along the boards, pinning it against the boards, holding it, killing a little bit of time, and then suddenly he's bursting out into a seam and right into the slot for a shot on net. And he had the puck. I think his first touch was it 7:52, and the actual shot was at 7:40. So he had the puck for like a full 10 seconds in there, and he started from the defensive zone and basically worked it all the way up to a dangerous shot on their net. What's
Yeah,
not to like? Killing time while he's doing it. It's like such a long segment. So that was one of the highlights of the third period for sure.
the Hyman maneuver,
Hmm.
um, which he does repeatedly. Yeah,
Hmm.
he's now tied for 23rd in playoff scoring
Uh-huh.
with 8 points in 10 games, including 6 goals. So
Nice.
he's unlike his time in Toronto, Bruce. I'd like to point out that he won a playoff round and advanced to the second round. That never happened when he was with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Right.
So it was a big move for him, right? He was
Yeah, I'll
a
say.
favorite, and in Toronto there was a general. I think it was kind of like when there's a good player on your team and you can't keep him because of salary cap constraints, you kind of start to get your head around it and
Right.
you kind of think, oh, this is okay. We'll live with this. And that's the kind of mood I got in Toronto was they didn't like it, but they had
Right.
their heads around it. But man, I wonder if they're thinking we picked the wrong guy to get rid of and not keep. There's starting to be a long list of former Toronto Maple Leafs who have excelling in other NHL cities.
Cody Ceci, Tyson Berry.
Mason Marchment, Mason
Yeah.
Marchment,
Yeah,
a
all those
couple in
guys on the
LA,
Kings. Yeah.
Sean Durkee, and who are the other ones? Yeah, there's starting to be a long kind of trail of,
Hmm.
and I remember this happened with the Oilers, and it starts to add up, and you start to think, what's going on? Maybe
Yeah.
all the calls made sense. Certainly, they were up against the cap, and you know what? The Oilers are going to be up against the cap, and they're going to lose a
Hmm.
good player or two this summer, I think, just because they can't afford them.
Trevor
But
Moore
definitely,
and Carl Grundstrom are the other guys in
yeah,
LA.
yeah.
But I think if you ask the Toronto fan, or at least throughout the year, and maybe their opinion changes now, but Toronto knew they couldn't afford Hyman, so they identified Michael Bunting as a free agent to take his spot. They signed him
Fair
to a
enough.
2-year deal at $950,000, and Bunting scored more than Hyman did, and there are Toronto fans that say he's better. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but
How about
they
have
did
both of them?
they did find a hell of a good replacement for cheap. So that was a less of a stinging loss than it might have been. Let's put it that way. But
Fair enough. It's like
Hyman's looking
CC.
pretty good in blue and orange.
Yeah, it's like CC and Larson, right? Like the loss of Larson. Nice to have both in a way, right? Like if you could have
Yeah,
both,
well,
that
it
would
would
be
be. Yeah.
ideal.
Hmm.
Because just because you lost,
Hmm.
just because you have Bunting doesn't mean it was good to lose Hyman. I mean, if you could sign Bunting for that amount of money and have both of those guys, then maybe that makes a difference. Anyway, I don't want to. Toronto's suffering enough, aren't they? So let's
Tough
just keep
times.
mentioning it. Yeah, it is tough times. All right, Bruce, your second good thing.
Yeah, I'm going to give the nod to graybeard goaltender Mike Smith. I thought he was solid tonight through 40 minutes, and then nothing short of tremendous in the early going of the third period when Calgary really stormed the Bastille there for the opening few minutes of the third, and Smith came up with a number of great saves. Oh, I forgot to mention Zach Hyman. He made one of those saves. We talked about Zach Hyman. He made a goal line save off of, was it Backlund? Somebody had an open net, and Hyman covered the short side post and got a skate on the shot that was heading for the open side with Smith
Yeah,
down and out on the other side. So add that to Hyman's score. I will be when grading the game. But Smith stopped the other ones, and especially in that early third period barrage. But he made a few key saves along the way. Calgary guys got loose in behind Oilers defenders. Mangiapane got behind Nurse for one real dangerous shot that Smith just got the edge of his pad on, and uh, the individual saves were solid. But really, he stood tall when the game was on the line. Of course, he got a phantom assist on the first goal when he kept the play alive and he rolled the puck out to, I think that was McDavid on the or was it Draisaitl to McDavid, back to Draisaitl to Hyman? Anyway, it was a goal where the puck went 200 feet in about 7 seconds, and it was Smith's alertness that kept the play alive and got it going north. And then, of course, he also drew a 5-minute power play in the third period when Milan Lucic decided not to stop when Smith was out playing the puck and gave him a pretty hard ride into the boards, and his helmet popped off, and there was huge scrum around, skates, sticks flashing around. Poor Smith was just covering his head I mean, his life's at stake almost literally in that situation if something goes wrong. But they decided he had concussion protocol, and I thought, well, if he had a concussion, maybe he wouldn't have been so smart about protecting himself after.
yes, he's also
But off he
self-aware.
went, and so that kind of messed up with at that point he was going for a shutout, and then once Koskinen came in for a bit, the shutout would have been considered a shared one, and eventually Calgary did get the one goal late. But I thought Smith, for all of the competitive part of the game, was strong. And at that time, early in the third, where Calgary easily could have, I think, had a couple of goals and made it for a very nervous last 15 or so minutes, that Smith stood huge in the net, and he's got his mojo, and he's got a swagger, and he was doing his puck moving. He was charged with 3 turnovers, so it wasn't all sweetness and light, but nothing that wound up being costly. So stick tap to you, Mike Smith.
Yeah, he was fantastic in that third period flurry. But the saves that I was impressed with, so there was the Mangiapane one that you pointed out,
Yeah.
and then in the third, when the Oilers got up 3-0, the Flames, their best chance to get back in the game, I think, really came. There was a
Oh yeah, I know.
breakaway, and I can't remember who took the first shot. I think it was Kachuk who got the rebound, but he made two spectacular, absolutely
Gaudreau and Kachuk.
spectacular saves on Calgary Flames players when it was 3-0 and 3-1. Halfway through the third, you can come back from if they
Halfway
had
through the
scored.
second.
Excuse me, halfway through the second,
Yeah.
and those were absolutely crucial saves. So Mike Smith, he deserves your good thing status tonight, Bruce, based on those saves and others through the game.
How did I forget those? I mean, I got my notes in here somewhere, and we'll be covering it in the game grades. But there was certainly, before that third period barrage, a few isolated excellent saves, and that. I mean, Gaudreau on a breakaway, Kachuk on a rebound, glove grab. Wow, and that threw water on the fire before it even got started.
Yeah, it was fantastic. The Oilers have a couple guys with some real swagger, Smith and Kane, right? Like these two guys have come into town and changed, I think, the complexion of the team significantly. Maybe Keith in a different way, and actually Duncan Keith and Evan Bouchard are my other good thing. I just thought, they're not perfect defensemen, but they really move the puck well. And Evan Bouchard's starting to look very polished out there. He went through some very extremely shaky periods this year. He was moved up to the top pairing with Darnell Nurse at one point, and he really started to struggle, leaking grade A shots against. And he's a rookie, and you're expecting this, and I think our comment at the time was this isn't good, but he is a rookie, and we expect he'll get better. Well, before our eyes in the playoffs, he's becoming more composed. He, excuse me. Of course, he's got his great shot. And every time he's out there on the power play, especially, I'm hoping that he gets past the puck so he can unleash that shot. It doesn't happen enough as far as I'm concerned. But he's just very solid, he and Keith, getting the puck, moving the puck, getting the puck, moving the puck. And the Oilers had a reputation for a decade at least of a team without that kind of player, without those really solid puck-moving players. Now, almost every one of their defensemen is able to do that. Get the puck, move it. And these two players lead the way. They really work well together. And I think Bouchard kept a clean sheet on defense, which means not one mistake on a grade A shot against the even strength. So if he made mistakes, if there were shots and stuff out there when he was out there, well, they weren't generally, he wasn't the cause of any heinous ones against the Oilers. And Keith was just tagged with one of them according to our analysis. So at even strength. So the Oilers need these two players. And it's funny because Duncan Keith's kind of had an up and down playoffs, I'm going to suggest. He's been inconsistent.
He's had some real good games, and he's had 2 or 3 that were not good at all.
Yeah. So, but overall, he's been really good. And in games, I think in games 6 and 7 when they had to win, and in games 2 and 3 when they did win against the Flames, Keith has been really good. So they've been getting, frankly, full value for both the trade and the contract in those games. The final evaluation of that trade can't really be made until the playoffs are over. I'm going to suggest it's a position I've had all year, and I think we still can't say whether that really worked out for the Oilers or not, because they paid a steep price in terms of cap hit. Now, we don't know who else the Oilers might have got instead of Duncan Keith, right? That's the other question. How could they have used that money? Maybe they could have got someone better for cheaper. We don't know. But anyway, we're going to be evaluating this. I mean, people have been weighing in all year. People have very strong opinions one way or the other on whether it's worked out. I mean, I just generally think it's trending towards working out. It has for some time. His play started to really pick up in, I think it's December. He had a strong second half of the season. And generally speaking, aside from a few rough games, that strong play has continued in the playoffs. Bouchard's also trending up. So is that ever good news? Because this is the second pairing. They need these guys to really play well in tough minutes, and they're doing it.
Yeah, I like Keith's game too. I thought it was really good. Maybe he played his best game of the whole season. Tonight quieter, but I didn't see him as really getting shown up and beaten by. I was really concerned about Calgary's wide speed against him coming into this series. I thought
Yeah.
Gaudreau might eat his lunch or even Mangiapane, but I'm not really seeing that yet. So hopefully that'll hold. But
I think Mangiapane would eat his bread,
yes.
literally. uh, um, all right, Bruce, what is your bad thing?
Yeah, well, I got to go to that first few minutes of the third period, and I'll start by giving full credit to Calgary, down 4-0, and they changed their goalie, and it looked like they were, out of the game. But they poured it on right from the first shift, and I think they had a couple of dangerous chances that weren't, in the end, shots on net. But right away, the play started in Edmonton's zone. There was a icing after 24 seconds or something. Calgary had already had two good looks, and I'm going, this is not the way to do it, boys. Bear down. And anyway, what proceeded after that was a wild uh, chaos of Calgary chances, Edmonton's failed clearances, and just all kinds of yelling at the TV moments and what should be a nice, safe 4-0 lead. And there was one sequence in particular that ended with an Edmonton penalty where Calgary had basically three great chances in a row and then a fourth one,
Yeah.
I think, at the end of it. Let's
That's right.
find it here.
Correct, Bruce. 3 in a row and then 4.
17-27, 17-21, 17-16, 17 minutes. Then on the power play, 16-44 and 16-31. They literally had 6 grade A shots in less than 1 minute of playing time. And there was one that came around there where Smith made the save and the puck was lying in the crease and Hyman sort of chipped it out a little ways and Puljujarvi managed to overskate it with both skates. His first skate went over the puck. He tried to drag it with the second skate. He missed it. It's still in there. And that was the one where Hyman made the save off of the goal line because Smith was down and out. And then on the power play, even they had a bad line change. I mean, they finally got the puck out, and then the next thing you know, Calgary's got a 3-on-1, Kachuk, Gaudreau, etc. 3-on-1 on the power play, and you're going, how'd that happen? So just those few minutes, maybe we had grade A shots at 8-0 in the first under 7 minutes of the third, and I just thought they were a little bit. They put the finish line ahead of where it actually was in this game. And once they got out of that, once Bouchard took the penalty, they were mostly fine. But it was just those few nervous moments, and as bad things go, I mean, they didn't get scored on even once, so it's not that bad. But in this game, it was by far the worst stretch of the game for Edmonton. So it's my bad thing.
Yeah, it was really one bad shift and then one bad kill. That was a bad shift. I mean, Nuge and Puljujarvi and Tyson Barrie and Kulak were really struggling on that. And it was all kind of multiple and different errors, different mistakes on each of the grade A shots against. It wasn't good. Bruce, my bad thing is going to be the Calgary cheap shots. And I'm not. I think the Milan Lucic play was. I'm not as upset about that as the other one that I'm going to talk about. The Lucic one was, Smith had the puck. Lucic, I thought he did kind of hold, he wasn't barreling in a million miles an hour. He was cruising in, and he didn't let up. But he was, the goalie's got the puck and he's trying to play it. He's trying to stir things up, and he did hit him against the boards pretty good. I don't know. It seemed like the kind of play that if an Oiler made it, my team was down 4-0, I'd be cheering it on, honestly. So I'm not going to say, I don't think it was the worst kind of heinous foul that I've seen. That said, the next one, and this was Mangiapane on Archibald, I thought was ghastly. It was a knee-on-knee hit that was completely uncalled for. It was lined up. It looked to me it was lined up from some distance. Very could have, that's the kind of play that can blow a guy's knee out. What are you doing, Mangiapane? Like that's just a jerk play, and you deserve to be suspended for that. I hope that goes to player safety and you get suspended for a game or two because that was a really dirty, nasty, uncalled for play late in a game. And if someone does that to you, you've got it coming big time. So that's what I would say to Andrew Mangiapane. I didn't like that at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Lucic one, I was a little surprised they called a major. Although, as I said to Anna at the time watching the game, that I said, normally they got two for goaltender interference. I mean, he actually boarded the goalie.
Yeah,
Like,
he did. He did.
So, so what are you going to call 2 minutes for goaltender interference? And so they actually called it a charging major, and I thought it was a little bit. Um, it was a bit of a harsh call on Lucic, to be frank. But I think the refs were thinking 4-0, 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
Calgary's starting to run around. Let's just put this one to bed, and they more or less did. And there was a hell of a big scrum after there. All the Oilers tough guys like Kulak and Barry were getting involved in there. And Calgary had on the ice Zadorov, Ritchie, Lucic, and presumably Good Branson, who didn't show up on the penalty summary, but Trevor Lewis did. So 4 of the 5 Flames on the ice, and 3 of them are like 220 plus pound kind of mean guys, right? Tough guys, especially Zadorov. He's crazy at times, and Lucic we know, and Ritchie, he's like a 220-pound bruiser. So, and the
Yeah,
Oilers
those
did
are
have Archibald and Cassian out there, and Cassian got involved in that a little bit, but they had their smallish pairing of Kulak Berry, but those guys don't back down. I'm liking what I'm seeing from Kulak, and I'm liking what I'm seeing from Tyson Berry. I don't think he's
Oh yeah.
gotten anywhere near enough credit for what he's been doing for Edmonton, including scoring the huge game winner in Game 6 in LA with the score tied 2-2 in the last few minutes of the third period with Oilers' season on the line. I hardly heard anything after that about Tyson Berry scores huge goal to win crucial game for Oilers. It was like, let's talk about the guys who set them up, and they deserve their headlines too. But Barry's doing what he can do, and he gets beat defensively once in a while, and you have to accept that's part of the package. But the package also includes a fair bit of feistiness, which I, for one, have been appreciating, and some good offense. Jeez, he broke someone's ankles himself tonight down in the first period, down in the left wing face-off circle. He did a 270-degree reverse up the boards, and the guy, I think, just went down, and Barry tried to one of those high short side shots, try to hit it off of Markstrom's head and in, and he didn't miss by much.
Yeah, he did.
And it was a very just high skill play in the move. I mean, do you think that's a forwards move, not a D-man? But anyway, he's not everyone's cup of tea, but he's bringing his game, and I think he's playing hard.
Well, that's your third pairing, right? And both these players can really skate, and they can both really pass the puck. And this is modern hockey, where you have to be able to make those passes and get that puck out of your end. And the Oilers have a full team roster of a defenseman that can do it. And thank goodness that Ceci looked like he might be healthy after that, taking that puck on the hand. Man, I felt for him.
Scary.
Defenseman to get beaten and battered, and he's going to be hurting. That's going to hurt for a while, but hopefully it's okay. Everything's okay there.
It hit the hand holding the stick too, so sometimes those can do a real squash job on the fingers. Whereas you get hit in the open hand, your hand can move with it, but if your hand's holding the stick, where are your fingers going to go? Right? You got a hard puck going 90 miles an hour on one side, and a composite stick on the other.
In terms of cheap, sorry, Bruce.
Yeah.
In terms of cheap shots, Tkachuk's hack on Smith in the first period too, I didn't like that at all, and that was very close to a penalty. Should have been a penalty, I think. He just went up and absolutely slashed him as Smith was playing the puck. I didn't think that was kosher, and they should have called him. But Tkachuk has that Corey Perry kind of immunity already, I think, in the NHL, so he gets away with all kinds of crap. Bruce, what's your number?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Zach Hyman's line from the stat sheet tonight. We don't have any on ice numbers, natural statistics down at the moment, but we do have just off the event summary, 1 goal plus one, 23 minutes and 3 seconds for Zach Hyman, led the Oilers in ice time with 27 shifts. He played 5:38 on the power play and 3:39 team high on the penalty kill that went 4 for 4 in this game, and he was doing some very good work on that penalty killing. And then out in the actual counted events, 7 shots on goal, 9 shot attempts, 2 hits, 0 giveaways, 2 takeaways, 2 block shots, including that goal saver right on the goal line when he was
Yeah.
in behind. So, and of those 7 shots, we know from our estimation there were 6 high danger shots by the Oilers. So these aren't just crooked numbers of meaningless shots from the boards or some hit long after the pass was made or something. Like he was involved around the puck and making key plays all night long, and it actually shows up on his sheet here. He played his ass off in this game. Zach Hyman again, 2 excellent games in a row for him.
Alrighty. Yeah, he was just fantastic. Bruce, my numbers are 23 and 19, and they translate into 2.3 points per game and 1.9 points per game. That's Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl's point total after 10 games. 23 points for McDavid, 19 for Draisaitl, playing sick. We hear he has some kind of illness to start the playoffs, and then on one leg for the last 5 games. So he has been like that's, and it's incredible what Leon Draisaitl has been able to do when injured, and I can't wait for him to continue to get healthy. Evander Kane is 4th in scoring, 13 points in 10 games. Wow. And he leads the NHL in goals with 10 in 10 games. So Nikita Kucherov has 15 points in 10 games for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and he's the 3rd place guy. So McDavid is all, get this, Bruce. Holy moly. Now, goals plus minus is not always the most important stat. It can be very misleading. For instance,
high fidelity.
Darnell Nurse was +3 this game, and he really struggled. He leaked some grade A shots against. But anyway, sometimes it really does indicate who's playing well. Connor McDavid in 10 games is +16, Bruce. He's +16 goals in the playoffs. Next best is Jacob Slavin and Evander Kane. They're both +9 in 10 games. So McDavid's, he, as I've been saying, he has gone supernova in these playoffs. Whatever he was before, as fantastic as he was before, he is that much better right now. He is a player on a mission, and you see it in his face, you see it in his demeanor, you see it in every single shift. This player who's decided he's not going to be denied this year, and we'll see if anyone can do it. Like, it is a team game. There's obviously lots of hockey to go, including probably there's just a super tough series against the Flames. Who knows what's going to happen. And then the next one, if it's Colorado or St. Louis, if the Oilers get by the Flames, that's going to be really tough too. And then you might get there and you face Tampa. So anyway, I don't think he can win the Conn Smythe based on 2 rounds of play, but he will come the closest of anyone in NHL history if the Oilers go out. Like, he could have 30 points in after 2 rounds of hockey quite easily, I think, here. And he's crushing it.
Yeah, well, here's some numbers for you. This could have been my numbers, except I was literally just looking them up while they were going through. Evander Kane leads the playoffs in goals with 10 games. He leads the entire league in shots on goal with 43, and he leads the entire league in hits with 48. Tonight he had 6 shots and 10 hits. 10 hits credited in this game, and that's a stat that it's a judgment call, and not all rinks are exactly the same on hits in particular, but still, I mean, he was getting credit with hits in L.A. and Calgary as well, and he's 5 ahead of anybody in that department. He's got one more shot than Zach Hyman and Nathan McKinnon, with Connor McDavid and Johnny Goodrow in a couple shots back from that. But I mean, you're over 4 shots a game, all of these guys. And McKinnon's only played 7 games, so he's getting 6 shots a game. But still, Kane is putting crooked numbers on the across the event summary, and to me, that's a hallmark of a power forward. He's also 3rd in penalty minutes, whether you call that good or bad, but he's in there. He's making stuff happen. He's in the middle of the action. He's not backing down from anything or anybody.
Yeah, well, good signing by Ken Holland. Good signing by Ken Holland. And I don't think the Oilers get by LA without Evander Kane, with all the other injuries. So absolutely, they needed to win. They needed to do something this year. And with McDavid and Draisaitl in their prime, and they're doing it. We don't know where it's going to go, but I think they've done. They're on their way to doing something. They won a round, which they hadn't done since 2017, and they're playing well so far against Calgary. We'll see what happens in the next game, though. We're going to see a fired up Calgary Flames team.
Yeah,
super fired up Calgary Flames team in Game 4, and
let's hope Oilers can keep their level.
Yeah, I hear you, Bruce. All right, well, you got to do the game grade, so we should probably move along here then. Any final thoughts?
Just that this was a very satisfying win for the Oilers, and the second period is something I'm going to watch tomorrow morning. I'm just going to turn on and watch the entire 20 minutes from start to back and appreciate it for what it was, which was not quite 100% Oilers domination, but good goaltending when Calgary did get their couple of chances, and then Edmonton just turning on the power with that high capacity first line. Kane, McDavid, and Draisaitl, and really they're all 3 power forwards at this point.
Yeah, they really are. McDavid they said he led they said he at the start of the game, he was leading them in the series in hits or something like that.
Yeah, well, 3 more hits tonight, but Kane had 10 and passed him.
Yeah, showtime. All right, Bruce. All right, thanks for talking tonight.
All right, thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.